And good morning, Grant. Good morning, everyone. Open up for questions for Grant.
Hi, Grant. Just a thought on what you guys saw on film. Like you said, the team said they wanted to look at film, and what are some of the corrections you need to make heading into tonight's game 2?
It's just we gotta be a little more physical. We have to play a little bit tougher because we did a great job of playing them for 3 quarters, but 1 quarter dictated the game, and we allowed that to spiral. And it wasn't as bad as you looked at it as on film, but we have to do our best job of not only just keeping the intensity up, because this team does a great job of feeding off of that when you make mistakes.
Hey, Graham. What was the impact of Ime being out yesterday with the non-COVID illness? And when you look back on game 1, I know this team throws a lot of defensive looks at you. What are some of the ones you saw, and just what do you think you need to do to respond to those?
Yeah, this team's different than the teams that we've played to this point, other than I would say just in terms of physicality. Reminds you similar to that Raptors team I played my rookie year, where they kind of claw, fight, more physical. So they do a good job of switching. They put their best defenders on the guys who necessarily are in the actions, and the worst ones on the guys who are outside of it. So trying to get those guys more involved. But honestly, that's what we saw from game 1. They're just going to be more, they're going to try and muck up the game, be physical, get to the free throw line, take advantage of those opportunities in transition. So for us, it's just about being solid and being ourselves. And then with Ime, I know he's back. Ime is going to be the life of the room one way or the other. So even when he's not there, he's there. I feel like he did a great job preparing us for today.
Hey, Grant. Obviously, Jason's turnovers were a big storyline. What can you guys do to kind of help with some of that in terms of his decision making?
Yeah, it's more so about us giving the spacing. Sometimes we crowded the court for not only those guys, but giving the right spacing and also understanding who's on the court at what time. Jimmy plays a passing lanes. He's known for it. He's a guy that gambles and goes for steals. So understanding that if he's in a high quadrant, you have to be aware of him kind of going away, just leaving his man and making a play. So some of it's just like feeling out the game and understanding it. You can't press too much about those turnovers because it's not a natural occurrence. It's not something that you expect to happen again. So for us, it's just a matter of executing on the offensive end and making it easier for everyone else.
Hey, Grant. Was Marcus out there today, and how did he look?
Oh, he looks fine. I was about to say, in terms of anything beyond that, I can't really say much, but he looked good. I was about to say Smart's competitive as heck. So, I always expect him, no matter if he's hurt or injured or anything, he's going to try and make an attempt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know what the case will be, but he looks good.
Grant, when you looked at the film yesterday, did you just look at the third quarter, or did you look at the whole game? How much time did you spend on the third quarter?
Yeah, we look at the whole game. Honestly, it's more than just 12 minutes. One game, like we said, I've said in series prior, one game won't dictate a series. One game doesn't dictate the outcome of anything. So we should have to do our best job of responding and just competing. This team is ultra competitive. This team is physical. So we have to do our job of matching the intensity and excelling.
Grant, you talked a little bit earlier about just your defense and things of that nature. What's the key to being able to defend at a high level against this team without fouling? Because that seemed to be obviously with Jimmy Butler getting to the line, I think it was like 18 times. That was a big part of their success. What's the key to defending him and this team in general without fouling as much?
Yeah, some of it's just understanding tendencies, understanding the player that you're guarding, trying your best to show your hands at the most opportune times, because when you are lazy or when you make those mistakes, those are when you get those foul calls. So for us, it's just a matter of understanding exactly who we're on, what they want to do, what they enjoy, and then taking that away from them, and then just being physical and dictating that game from the jump and not allowing anything, whether it's officiating or anything, to change how we're playing. We're going to be that physical, tough team, and we just have to continue with the same intensity that we have, but be a little bit more smart.
Grant, you had an animated conversation, I would say, with Ime when you were coming out of the game. What do you take from those conversations? Obviously, he's going to keep it real. You're an honest guy. What do you take away when you have a conversation or a dispute or a disagreement with Ime? How does that help you?
Oh yeah, for us, kind of our relationship. We kind of can go at it and we're completely fine afterwards. So some of that's the heat in the moment thing where you're just kind of like understanding what's going on in the court, what you saw, what happened, what didn't happen, and what we could do better. So anytime that happens, it's nothing that ever moves past or even is thought of. That's why we kind of just keep it rolling, nothing changed. So Ime is my guy, and at the end of the day, we're going to be him being a former player helps even more because he understands that tenacity, that heat, and how you feel on the court. He wants to bring the best out of everyone else around you. That's why he's not afraid to rip us like he did at the start of the third quarter. He's not afraid to call us out one by one. So for me, I've just got to understand exactly, hear what he says, and also we're going to talk about exactly what I saw too. So that way it's an open communication and dialogue.
You took several shots in game one, like, you were hurt a little bit. There was one you got up really slow before a free throw and you seemed like you were dazed. How are you and what happened there?
It's the playoffs, no one's ever 100%. So it's time to just enjoy what we're going through. And I'm great. I was about to say step by step. And no matter what, this is the time where you got to play through no matter what it is. So we're just going to have a phenomenal time tonight and keep it moving for the rest of the series.
Grant, league-wide, the percentage of shots at the rim have been going down every year for the past 5 playoffs, and I think they're at a 20-year low right now. Can you just speak to how difficult it is to finish, to get it to the rim and finish at the rim in the postseason?
The dynamics of the league change, the rules have changed, spacing have changed, players have changed. I know in the past there wasn't many guys that shot threes that were capable. Analytically, you could say that a 40% from 3 is better than 50% from 2. And you look at the way leagues defend right now, it's not many times you see bigs and drop coverages or guys that are just sitting inside the rim the entire time. It's a lot more switching, it's a lot more versatility. So in terms of 20-year low and everything like that, I think that's a little bit just how the league has changed. You have a lot of talent that not only can space the floor, but also can create and get to the paint. But most of those times when you do, teams are so focused on defending it that it leads to open threes or kickouts opportunities. So that's part of how the league is changing. It's part of what I feel like makes the league great, because you see the skill level and the talent that kind of comes out of that. And you still have your bits and pieces of guys who mix that in every now and again, but you have a lot more, I feel like, versatility now.
Final 2 questions, Duke and Trey.
Grant, you guys have been so good after losses since late January. I believe 10-1 after a loss. Do you draw on that? And the losses, some of them emotional in the playoffs. I think back to game 5. Do you draw on the way you guys bounce back, and how important do you think it is to get a win down here and head back to Boston for game 3?
Yeah, honestly, you telling me that stat, I didn't know it, but I feel like that's something that we've kind of had to have over the years, is that you don't ever want to be a team that loses back to back. You make those mistakes, you fix them, and you keep it moving. But at the end of the day, you understand exactly what needs to be done and what needs to be executed. So for us, it's just about coming out and executing on what we saw and what has changed, and then making those adjustments and accordingly, and then being physical and being tenacious about it.
Grant, what is your outlook heading into tonight? Atoning for what happened in game 1 and heading back to Boston, tied at a game apiece.
Yeah, outlook wise, we just have to come out here and try and make it 1-1. It's one of those things where we know they're going to come out with the same intensity and physicality. They're going to have their fans behind them. They're going to make shots at times. They're going to go on runs, and we just have to withstand those. And it's a game of runs in basketball. You can't control everything. You can't control every aspect. You can't control officiate. You can't control exactly what players are going to be out there. But what you can control is the heat and energy that you bring, but also the competitiveness and the spirit of a team. So we just have to come out there, stick together, and be ourselves.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Grant.
Have a good one, y'all.